friends, in the last 3 Sundays of the liturgical year, including last Sunday, this Sunday and next Sunday, we meditate on the 25th chapter of Matthew's Gospel. Last Sunday we meditated on the 10 virgins who were 5 wise and 5 were foolish. And there was a call at the end of the Gospel to keep awake. We do not know when the bridegroom is coming. Today's Gospel passage, it is giving an account at the end of our life of the talents that are entrusted with us. Next Sunday, the king will be sitting on the judgment seat and he will be punishing those who were not responding to the call of the king. Rather, he will be rewarding those who were generous towards the poor, the hungry and the naked. So, when we look at today's Gospel passage, it is mainly focused on talents, the talents that are given to us. Now, let us analyze this Gospel passage. Very interesting, when we go back to the Old Testament, we understand what is a talent. First of all, we need to know what is a talent. We always say that talent is a capacity God has given us. Talent could be resources, talent could be time, talent could be anything that is entrusted with us. But we have to understand what this talent is in the Old Testament. If you go to the book of Exodus chapter 38, Moses collected 29 talents of gold for preparing the Ark of the Covenant. So, what is a talent then? We need to have a measurement. For that, you have to refer to 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 30, where David was given the crown when he was enthroned as the king, and that crown was weighing 1 talent. And what is this 1 talent? This crown was made with gold, silver and jewels. 1 talent is 75 pounds, practically 34 kilos. You can just imagine the plight of David carrying that crown on his head. 34 kilos on his head. And that is actually the measurement of a talent. Now, during the time of Jesus, 1 talent was equal to 6,000 denarii. And that was that kind of money. And that's why when this rich man going away on a journey, he gives these talents to his slaves. Now, we can just imagine, we are almost at the end of the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is about to enter Jerusalem, where he would undergo passion, death and resurrection, and then he will ascend up into the Father. And that is the moment Jesus says, the rich man is going away, and therefore he is distributing his talents. And when he comes back, he will be asking an account. Symbolically, Jesus going away and the second coming of Jesus asking for an account of all the talents that are entrusted with his servants. Now, let us consider the first one who received 5 talents. What do we understand from the Gospel? He immediately goes out. He does not waste time. He takes his 5 talents, invests them. That is a immediacy. He does not waste time. Dear friends, when we have resources, when we have money, we should not waste time. If you want to invest, it should be quick. Nowadays, people think of investing in stocks or property or real estate, where they can multiply their money. That's why he was very shrewd. He goes immediately to invest, and he adds another 5. The second one too, he had 2 talents, and therefore he goes and invests, and he adds 2 more. Now, what do we understand by these talents? Dear friends, when we think about our personal life, God has entrusted with us lots of things, whether they are personal talents, capacities. If someone has a gift of singing or writing or technology or engineering or many other talents. We can also think of the talent of the mind, our intellect, our will. Stronger you are capable of contributing your share. It is not only concerned with material things, but the things that we have received in one way or the other. They are for multiplication and not for ourselves. When we multiply and keep it for ourselves, it does not profit anyone. If God has given us talents, they are not only for us to enjoy the benefits, but also we need to in some way reach out to those people who are in need, because you are having that capacity to improve and grow. Now, when we think about faith, dear friends, faith is also a talent. We Christians very often think of saving ourselves. When I go for Mass, I read the Bible, I do some devotions, I do some prayers and so on. I go for pilgrimages, I pray to God and so on, so that I may be saved. I consider that is a very wrong idea of faith. We are already saved. By the very fact I have received baptism and grace of God, I am already saved. There is no more saving. God has saved me. But I have to multiply the talent of faith, spreading God's kingdom. And how is that done? We know that the disciples were invited, go to the whole world and proclaim the good news, baptize them in the name of the Father, Son and the Holy Spirit. What did they do? They went far and wide to proclaim the good news. Dear friends, the news, that is gospel news, the joy of the gospel, we need to share with others. That is what is called multiplication of the talent. Now, I remember European missionaries came to my country. What did they do? They not only preached the gospel, they not only baptized the people, but in their intelligence, they bought huge amounts of properties, big properties. And today, all these properties are used for the good of the people. In the church, convents, organizations, Christian organizations in my country are the most recognized organizations and educational facilities that cater to the poor, that cater to the people. And there are hospitals, there are orphanages, there are places where seniors are taken care, there are lepers who are taken care, there are centers where physically challenged, mentally challenged people are taken care. This is the innovation, creativity of all these missionaries who went early to do that. It is not only spreading God's kingdom by way of buying properties or whatever, or investing in properties, but also spreading the good news of Christ. So, we have to change our mind that the gift of faith I have received is for growing and spreading, and that is how I multiply my talent. Dear friends, in my previous parish, there was a guy who used to come every month, and he used to hand over to me huge amount of money. And I used to ask him a question, why do you do this? And he used to reply me, this is the 5% of the profit I make every month, I give it to the church so that this may be used for the poor. Now, this I am not telling that you have to do the same thing towards this church, okay? That is not my idea, but it's a real thing. After I came to Vancouver, I inquired with the previous parish priest, after those parish priests who followed me, he is doing the same thing even today. Why does he do that? Because the more he gives, the more he is added up. That is multiplication of talents. Dear friends, in our daily lives, we always must keep in mind that there should be a flow. The water cannot be stagnant. When I do my talents for my own purpose, it gets stuck. When there is a flow, it goes out and more things are added. That is why in Luke's Gospel, chapter 21, there is a beautiful incident when Jesus was in the temple. He was observing people who were putting money in the treasury of the temple. And there was one widow who put just 2 copper coins. And Jesus drew the attention of the disciples and said, she has put the most in the treasury. And the disciples were surprised. How come? Others were pouring money into the treasury, whereas Jesus was impressed by this widow. And what did he say? She has put everything that was necessary for her life. Dear friends, generosity is not giving out of my abundance. That's a good thing too. There are many people who do that. That's a wonderful thing by which many poor people are helped. That is good. But then when we really hurt ourselves when we give, that is called real generosity. That is called doing something good in the name of God, where our reward is assured. That's why Jesus said, even if you give a glass of water to the one in my name, your reward will be assured. That's a great consoling thing for us. Dear friends, I always tell you, one of the things that we have to keep in mind, on the last day, God will not ask us how many masses you did not go, how many devotions you did not do, how many stations of the cross you did not do during Lenten season, how many fasts you did not observe. God will not ask that. What God will be asking, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, did you give me a drink? When I was a stranger, did you welcome me? Dear friends, what is important is not giving huge money, helping someone who is in need. I'll give you my personal example. I don't want to boast that I am a hero or a saint. You know, the other day I was at Burad gas station, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I was filling the gas and I was just looking around, observing people, and there was a homeless guy practically very close to the gas station, giving all kinds of worst bad words ever, beginning with the letter F. Okay? Worst bad words. I was looking people, the people were passing by, he was giving, and I too was afraid, because if he looks at me and gives a bad word, I would feel very bad. Okay? Well, then, after filling the gas, I went to the station and I bought some things. And when I came out, I had some changes in my hand. And I approached him and I gave him $5. He looked at it and said, God bless you. I was expecting a bad word, not a bad word. Then I told him, why do you give all these bad words? He was saying, again he used that bad word. He said, these are bad people. God bless you, he said. Then I went away. Dear friends, we can always put a smile on the face of a person who suffers with a little sacrifice. And I could have kept that $5 in my pocket, and I said, oh, there are many homeless people, why should I care and bother? But I was happy. When I came home, I felt that kind of happiness. Well, I succeeded in bringing out from the mouth of that guy a good word. God bless you. Dear friends, we can do a difference. We can make a difference when we make efforts in our lives. Now, the second part of the gospel is very important too. That guy who received 1 talent, that was a huge amount of money. 1 talent. What did he do? He had a bad habit of criticizing, and he had a critical mind. And what did he say? Sir, you are a harsh man. You reap where you have not sowed. You gather where you have not scattered. And I was afraid. That is okay. The rich man said, that is okay. You knew that. I am a harsh man, and so on and so on. Then why didn't you put that money in the bank? Why did you go and bury that talent in the mud? You could have at least invested in the bank. And therefore he was punished. Jesus says, those who have, more will be given, and those who do not have, even what they have will be taken away. What does that mean? Its meaning is just this. Dear friends, whatever God has given us, we have to multiply. And multiply not for ourselves. God gives us strength and intelligence and will and power, a good body and strength, hands and feet and eyes. That is for others, not for myself. You know, when we do that, dear friends, our reward will be great in heaven. Let us ask the Lord during this week in a very special way, as Pope Francis has declared this day as the World Day for the Poor. Let us have this intention and the real decision to do something for those people who are suffering. You know, we suffer in many ways, dear friends. But then when we sacrifice something and try to relieve the sufferings of others, there is a blessing coming from above, and that is for sure. And many of you are witness to that. Whenever you have given something to the poor, sacrificing in your life, blessings have come upon you, and they will always come upon us, because whatever we do it for the least of the brothers and sisters, we do it for God. Please rise, we profess our faith.